Called it the shame of small fears.
Oh, okay.
Imagine explaining modern fear to a caveman. You see, Gruck, people today get terrified when they have to send a message. Gruck blinks. Message carved on stone? No, but it's sentence on a glowing triangle. Enemy tribe see message? No. Saber-toothed tiger smell message? No. Then why fear? Well, because the other person might think badly of me. Gruck cries, laughing. And yet, that's the whole point. We inherited a nervous system calibrated for lions, and we're using it to navigate awkward conversations and underwhelming careers. Evolution never updated the software. It just repurposed it. Your ancestors needed courage to keep their bodies alive. You need courage to keep your identity intact.
A kid won't stop loving a parent, no matter how abusive the parent is. They'll stop loving themselves, right? And so a lot of the times, a child will start turning inward and going, what did I do wrong? How can I be better? This creates a hypervigilant nervous system, which is I'm always alert to make sure that everybody is pleased with me, whatever room I walk into. And then they bring that into dating where it's, oh, this person doesn't seem happy with me today. What can I do to keep them happy? And so not only is there self-abandonment that's been in the making for a long time since childhood, but now there is this dopamine every time this person looks at you, responds, even if it's days later, you are now biochemically addicted to this other person because your parents didn't give you the...
See, adulation is like a cup with the hole at the bottom. And you keep filling it in, thinking it's love, except it just keeps coming out the bottom. And at some point, you have to confront, who am I doing this for? Am I doing it for other people? For them to briefly love me and commend me to then move on? And either way, that's a drug. And it's a drug that like you need, it's like real drugs. You need a greater hit to get the high, and eventually it stops working, and eventually you reach a peak and it gets really meaningless and empty.
Why go through the effort of having friends when you have Discord and Reddit? Why go through the hassle of getting a job when you can make money on Coinbase or Robinhood supposedly? And why would you go through the effort of trying to have a romantic relationship when you have lifelike synthetic porn? And the young male brain, I think, is especially susceptible to this. Men aged 20 to 30 are spending less time outdoors than prison inmates. 42% of men 18 to 24, and we talked about this on your last show, have never asked a woman out in person. So people are starting to believe they can have a reasonable facsimile of life.
It's not the fault of the kid. It's the fault of the system producing it. Because if it's just one kid being produced who can't argue, can't think critically, you can go, well, the kid wasn't listening, or there may be, maybe they weren't a good student, or whatever it may be. But the fact that we're producing legions of people who can't think critically, that's not the people's fault who are getting produced. It's the fault of the system. And what we need actually is a radical overhaul.
And it's also the fault of the adults who won't contend with them or allow them to be contended with for fear of the emotional damage, or they won't be able to handle it, even when we're talking about college students who are adults.
There's a great line that someone said to me, which was, mental health is both underdiagnosed and overdiagnosed. There's people who don't have it that just live through it.
Dude.
And don't know, and people who don't have it that make it their entire personality.
All the people that actually have serious mental health problems that I'm at least friends with are mostly undiagnosed, and they're just kind of, wandering through life. Yeah, dude. Seriously.
But I agree with you, and I think it's easy to be like callous or whatever, like flippant about the people that have been diagnosed or self-diagnosed or found their sort of mental health become more fragile. They don't want to be fucked. Like they don't want to be that fragile. They're just trying to hold on to some sense of certainty, and the certainty has now come from their diagnosis rather than their agency. Like they just can't make that thing happen. And they're in a world that seems to pedestalize,
So for a lot of people, they get so tired of thinking about trying to go to the gym, because thinking about trying to go to the gym takes more energy from them than actually being there, right? Because it's running around in their head how they failed and how bad they're going to feel and how they really want to do this, and maybe they will and maybe they won't. And there's so much going on inside of them that they're making something very, very complicated. So I want to understand why all that energy inside, right? And is there a way that we can simplify that? That's a marker that there's something going on that we want to be able to get at, because it's not the healthiest process, to say that there's a lot of internal turmoil about something that almost certainly can be better understood and simplified.
So that statement represents 10 mental workouts. that is exhausting them.
You can trust humans to do at all times is be selfish. And that doesn't, so yes, I'm saying things like loving your kids more than the next person. That's a selfish act. I get people are going to squabble over that. I'm just saying people live life in their perspective. They're seeing things from where they're at. They're more worried about whether their kids eat their next meal than the kid down the street or the kid in the next town. And so instead of fighting against that and expecting everybody to be altruistic at scale like they would be inside of their own family, which is fucking idiotic, people will act one way towards their family and it's completely different to the outside world. And that's as we are wired. I won't ask you to believe that's as it should be, but it is as we are wired. So when you build policies that take that into consideration, you get something great.
Should an Epicurean then take a shot of heroin before they die as a point of obligation?
My mum always used to say, try everything once.
Yeah.
But I think heroin, before you die, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that before you die. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with heroin, no. And all pleasure is good if heroin gives you pleasure. But the problem with Epicureanism, and why Epicureanism is quite unique actually, is that it says that all pleasures, kinetic pleasures, moving pleasures, have a degree of addiction. Of course, with heroin, we're talking extreme bodily addiction, psychological addiction, as well as you know, neurochemical addiction of dopamine and adrenaline or whatever. But yeah, I think I would like to try heroin before I die.
Yeah.
If everything in the Bible happened exactly as it said, literally, I say, what's the big deal? Resurrection? That happens all the time. The pagan gods get resurrected all the time. Empty tomb, Tibetan Buddhists today, their bodies disappear, rainbow bodies, very well reported. Miracles, there's a lot cooler miracles in the history of religion than multiplying fish and turning water into wine, right? Eternal life, Taoism, forgiving sins, tantric masters taking up people's karma and then resolving it. And I asked them, like, it drives them crazy, right? Like, what is the big deal? Even claiming that he's God. I and the Father are one. This is a common claim within Indian mystics, right?
I think you find these things, these vehicles for developing human potential, whether it's martial arts or golf or playing guitar or playing chess or poker.
And then you have to have, I think, one, at least for me, one seminal relationship in your life. You have to have one person that has just undying belief in you. And I never really had that until I met my wife. And that was I pushed against it so fucking hard because I was like, it just can't be true. Like, why does this person give a shit? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do they care about me more than I